The definition of stealth. Stealth is a word thrown around in most of our games that we play today. But, honestly, until I wrote the script for this video, I didn't even know what stealth truly meant, or what it was. I know how to use it in a sentence, but honestly, like in games and stuff like that, the word stealth is used pretty loosely. So let me define it for you. Stealth is defined as cautious and surreptitious action. Now, what does that mean? Surreptitious is defined as kept secret, especially because it would not be approved of. And cautious is defined as careful to avoid potential problems or dangers. Now, looking at these definitions, we can definitely see that there is a correlation between them and a combination of them that creates stealth in games. But what would the examples of each of these things be? And what do they look like when they work together? Let me show you. Cautious. Alien isolation. Something that I think is really important in stealth games is that there's a sense of stakes, a real authentic feeling that you have something to lose. And that is why caution is so important in the stealth genre. There has to be a reason for you to be stealthy. Take Alien Isolation. In this game, everything is a lot stronger than you. If you aren't stealthy, you're going to get killed by one thing or another, or a combination of them. And you can't run because you will still die. In this case, stealth very much is survival. I mean, the humans, you probably can get by in a gunfight or just beating them to death. In the androids, I mean, while they will hunt you and you can be stealthy around them, you probably should be, you can still get away from them by running. But then there's the xenomorph, okay? And he provides a completely different problem. You see, the xenomorph is faster than you. It is very good at finding you. It will search every possible spot up until it finds you. And it can just drop out of nowhere at random times. And any sound that you make will attract it. But this game is so cool because it really ups the stakes. It doesn't innovate on that one concept too much throughout. You have to keep adapting to fighting the alien, or hiding from the alien, I guess, and learning where the hiding spots are and trying to get away from it because you will die if you don't. You have to use all of your resources. You have a crafting wheel that gives you a bunch of different things, and eventually you get a flamethrower that helps you deal with the alien also. But for the most part, you are prey. You are hiding to survive. And I really appreciate the element of cautiousness, or caution, rather, that's probably the word I should use, that is present in Alien Isolation, because not a lot of games prioritize this the same way that this game specifically, but also horror games do. Surreptitiousness. Dishonored and Deus Ex. Surreptitiousness adds to the overall stealth feeling because you don't feel like you're supposed to be there, like sneaking around a forbidden area type vibe. And honestly, I think that both Dishonored and Deus Ex do this very well. Both Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, because I haven't played the older ones. See, in these games, there are definitely neutral areas, more so in Deus Ex than there is in Dishonored, because in Dishonored, you're just a fugitive. But there's definitely a different vibe when you enter an area that you're not supposed to be in. There are alarms to be set off, there are guards that will spot you and call their friends, and a bunch of different defenses that will keep you out. And you have to find a way past them, through them, or around them otherwise. And it's such a neat thing, because the game arms you to be able to deal with everything, any way you want to. You don't have to go quiet. But there is a specific kind of treat to going quiet in these games. I mean, how you approach is totally optional. As I said, you can go loud. But the maps are built for stealth. And it's so interesting, because it's not even like a one-path kind of stealth. It is however you want to approach it. Sometimes there'll be, like, in Dishonored, I'm going to use Dishonored right now, there'll be, like, a way over the rooftops, or there will be a way through a ventilation hole through possessing a rat, or you can go and rewire a wall of light so that you can get through, but any enemies that cross it will die. That way you don't die. It's just so interesting, because no matter how you do it, there really isn't a wrong answer. In Deus Ex, it's kind of the same thing. There's more like hacking components to it, so you can like hack security systems, turn off cameras. You can go invisible, sneak past enemies that way. A lot of the time, you can completely circumvent whatever area you're supposed to go through by finding an external route up a building or something similar to that. But the whole theme of play your way, while also engaging with that you're not really supposed to be here type vibe, is why these games are amazing. There are other reasons too, of course, but that above all is what makes them stealth. That is what makes them so wonderful. For the most part, if you got into like an open fight, you could probably kill every single one of them, which is why I'm not putting this in the cautious category. But it's so cool. The element of choice in these games is what makes it awesome. You can play your way with all the abilities in both games. Invisibility in Deus Ex, Dishonored has a plethora of different supernatural abilities. Blink, bend time. Don't even get me started on bend time. I frickin' love bend time. Icarus Dash, the taser fists in Deus Ex. It's just so good. It's so good. And another notable mention for these games are the ghost playthroughs, because the whole premise of that, and it's a whole different type of high when you achieve these, is that you get through the whole game, you spring no alarms, you get detected by absolutely no one, and you kill nobody. Everybody is left breathing. Honestly, super difficult. I think it's a little easier in Dishonored than Deus Ex just because of how the boss fights are laid out in Deus Ex, but it's very, very cool. Stealth. Metal Gear Solid. For a long time, I didn't really understand the hype behind the Metal Gear Solid series. I know it's a classic, I know it's legendary, and I know that it's where many consider the birth of modern stealth in games to have happened. But until I played the original, and I'm still just now playing the original, I didn't really understand what was so appealing. Where cautiousness and surreptitiousness, still not words, but we're balling with it, where they're concerned, this game does them and so much more. The very beginning of the game sets the tone. You start off in a little cave, and you have to wait for an elevator to drop so you can go ride it up. If you have to fight any of these enemies, you are going to die. You will be outgunned, and you don't currently have a weapon, so your only real option is to sneak past them and wait for the elevator. There are puddles to watch out for. There is just the fact that when you run without crawling, you are going to make sound, and they will hear you. In the next section, there's spotlights and cameras and different spaces that you can't fully see that just lead to a trickier environment to be in. In that same environment I was just talking about, there are kind of two options where you can either go quote-unquote loud and just run straight to the objective, or you can take an air vent into the actual base. But the air vent is guarded by a security camera and a guard, which you'll see me here circumvent all of that by just crawling past his feet. I think he still detected me though, technically, because then this cutscene popped up.
But that's nothing. I heard they spotted an intruder outside.
Really? Maybe we'll finally get to see some action.
Yeah, but we better do something about that door.
Let's put in an order to have it repaired.
And that's interesting, because it adds to the level of caution that you have to take, because if you get detected, it will change things for you, and it will make your life harder. Whether that's just in straight up fights, or in the repercussions of those actions, or considering the surreptitiousness, something, of the fact that you're just not supposed to be here. That these enemies' one goal is to keep you out, and they are pretty good at it besides the fact that I'm just a sneaky bastard. Can't keep up with me. Alright, so just because maybe your favorite game didn't make it in here, doesn't mean that there's any wrong way to do stealth in games either. This is purely what it means to me. Notable additions to what I consider stealth would be Splinter Cell Blacklist, or Splinter Cell, any of them really, because they're all fantastic stealth games. The Batman Arkham games are for sure up there, and I didn't put it here for a very specific reason. Stay tuned. And it's so cool. Stealth is different for everybody. Some people like aggressive stealth, some people like the more laid back, leave everyone living and just get by it kind of stealth, the ghost-like stealth. And it's just so interesting how everyone else plays it, because I'm a very one-note kind of guy. I like to slip through and just get through undetected. Like, that's the whole goal, get through undetected. But everyone experiences things differently, and maybe you would have put something different in here for your favorite stealth game. Your opinion's totally valid, and I would love to hear it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and it's about time I snuck out of here. Bye-bye.